Good evening, it's 5:30. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority. But today's date is Thursday, November 17th, 2022. Time is 5:32, and I'll take roll call. Where's my pen? Mayor Moreno's here. Mayor Pro Tem Moreno's not here. Camilo Garcia?
Here.
Thank you. Romeo Romo's not here. Rosie Arreola Fernandez, council member?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we got Mr. Moreno walking in at 5:32. So it's a closed session, calls to order. Due to pursuant to declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to AB 361, approved by Governor of California on September 16, 2021, and some or all city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference. Pursuant to Imperial County Public Health Department guidelines, city council meetings are now open for public attendance at 100% of capacity of the council chambers. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at http://communityspectrum.org live at 6:30 p.m. or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at www.facebook.com, City of Calexico CA. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. In-person comments. Submit public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, November 16, 2002 to city clerk at email cityclerk@calexico.ca.gov or via fax to 760-768-2103. You may make public comments via Zoom from a PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or Android device. And the link number to join the webinar is telephone 1-669-900-6833. The webinar ID number is 823-3972-8939, and the passcode is 923493. Next item is public comments, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address City Council on closed session items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please say your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the City Council meetings with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council, and we do have one public comment, and we have Griselda Gonzalez. Yes, please.
Good evening, City Manager, City Council. I have Veronica Valenzuela with me also, as our supervisor. We're here once again to request City Council for assistance. We have been here before requesting our salary increase and other items that we're fighting for, our dispatchers. I want to thank City Manager and HR Denise for meeting with us for the past couple of weeks. They've been very helpful. But basically what it is if you look at your pamphlet, our duty is to sit and answer our phones, to assist. It's 911, where's your emergency, is what mostly the most important or last call you make to get help from the police, paramedics, or fire. Public safety dispatchers are the lifeline in our community and also to our heroes out on the field. We keep our police, paramedics, fire, traffic controllers, etc. safe while providing them with the resources needed to safely finish the job. We are the first voice heard over the phone and or over the radio. Public safety dispatchers are often forgotten, yet are the unseen heroes, never appreciated, always underpaid. If you go down, we have our salaries are lower than other agencies. There has not been an adjustment since 2007. This year, we lost 2 dispatchers due to salary. We are requesting our salaries be brought up to a competitive rate equal to those dispatchers and other agencies. Also, we haven't received any appropriate salary adjustments reflecting the increase in cost of living and inflation. Our pay rate is not competitive to Brawley, El Centro, the county, or CHP. And on your list, you'll see the amount of salaries that they currently are receiving, as opposed to what we're receiving is way below. We're receiving less than what the people at In-N-Out are getting paid. Dispatchers' wages are not livable and are unsustainable. This year's inflation rate is over 8%. Public safety dispatchers are getting paid less than fast food employees. Now, if you look at the next page, it illustrates that our shifts are 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 3 and 4 days a week, to cover on days off we also cover on days off due to staff shortage. We receive approximately about 60 calls per shift. A lot of them are not recorded in the system because a lot of them we just handle over the phone. It's people that just want us to listen to them. They want a quick assistance over the phone. We'll give it to them. There's no need to open up a call or issue an officer to go out there, so we'll just do that. We're post-certified. We go to an intensive academy for 3 weeks.
No, just we have the continuous training, 24-hour continuous training or more, if available for us. However, we've been short-staffed, so we haven't done more than what is needed. We receive approximately a third of calls from Mexicali and lost and undocumented illegals from the desert area of California and Arizona, and all of the 911 calls that are at Mexicali at the border. Dispatchers also face an emotional, physical, and psychological issues at work. For example, medical issues like carpal tunnel, eyesight fatigue, ear loss, back issues, sedentary lifestyle, anxiety, headache, stress, abdominal pain from not going to the restroom, and from the adrenaline spikes, insomnia, and etc.
So going home, we find a way to deal with these issues. These are issues that nobody in the public knows, but we go through this every single day. We know how to deal with these issues either by exercise, either by talking to our colleagues, either by doing things that can allow us to have a clear, like a mental,
Like a little break or something to release
our stress. But we don't want to have to deal with how we're going to pay our mortgage, how we're going to pay our rent, the gas is so high, how am I going to pay for my food? We don't want to have to deal with that on top of all these other issues that we deal with at work. So we are humbly requesting your support to alleviate our current situation. And thank you once again for listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have,
Any questions?
yeah, a couple of questions. How long you been on this salary?
On this salary since 2007.
7. And how many dispatchers you currently have?
Currently 7.
Seven, including-
but I'm a dispatch supervisor, and I'm actually
Okay.
filling in the position of
Right.
a dispatcher.
So, in addition to just handling the penal code crime calls, you also handle emergency, which EMS and fire?
Police, fire, medical, and traffic, all the counter calls that come in, regular business line. We do
We
record
enter
entry for the Department of Justice.
If you were to guess, how many calls would you say you receive a year?
A year.
What did we receive last year?
Did I have it written down?
10,000, 5,000, just a rough figure, 10,000?
About,
Because I know fire department's pretty high.
We would include the police and
Right,
the
right,
fire
yes,
department calls,
yeah.
everything together.
Okay.
so fire department, I believe they get about 5,000
Okay,
calls.
all right.
That's
Wow.
only the fire and medical, not including ours. Like we said, the police has certain incidents. I believe, do you recall the number of incidents
So right now, so far, just on the police side, we've responded to over 22,000 calls for service through the city of Calexico. All those calls are funneled through our dispatch center. That's just police calls. Fire calls also go through there, and there I want to say there are about 8,000 to 9,000 of them. Plus then we have our old regular business lines, whether they want a copy of reports, issues, ticket signs off. Those are calls that are not recorded because they're all coming into the station. And then from there, we get other agency calls to verify warrants, confirm 1051s, which are stolen vehicles, missing persons. Those are also not captured in our records. When there's a normal traffic collision report, we get an average about 5 to 10 calls that they have to answer at just on that moment where they're just the initial calls. And then from there, the calls that they need to make for get additional resources, whether it be a tow truck on a crash, whether it be air ambulance, additional ambulance for the fire department. And now traffic controllers also, when they're involved in a traffic collisions, they call dispatch, and then they have to call out for resources. So when you see the numbers of how many calls that they average a year, we could definitely capture that number, but that's just the number that we actually enter into our computer system. But then there's other calls that are never entered. Like they said, if a person calls because they want directions, or if a person calls because their water hose got stolen, or because there is a water main break, that's not really captured in our records, but it's still a call that they need to answer. At 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when somebody comes in and wants to file a report, or they want directions, or ask questions about where are their family members, have they been arrested or not. Those calls are not actually captured either. So they dispatch for three departments of the city, which is the police department, fire, and EMS. But then those departments require resources, and then they have to call out for additional resources. So, for example, it was last week where they had 4 fire medical aid calls that they called, and they answered all the ones. They dispatched all the fire departments. All 4 calls needed ambulance service. They needed to call AMR to request ambulance for them to actually come in and service the call. Unfortunately, during that time, AMR didn't have any other additional ambulances, so they needed to call the Naval Air Facility, air ambulances, to see what ambulances are available to be able to transport. And all that stress is placed on them because people out in the field like myself and other police officers, firefighters, are expecting these resources, and we're counting on them to make sure that they get the resources that we need.
Okay.
So when you say an average, I could say probably about 30, 40,000 calls for service that we get, and that doesn't count all the additional calls, plus the radio traffic whenever there's an incident.
So to compare and contrast, what I like to see, perhaps maybe you guys can work on it. I know what you benchmark this with other, agencies, but to compare and contrast, give you a better solution here for us, at least me particularly. And you don't have to sell this to me because I used to be a cop here, so I know you guys really need this. So you would get Brawley and then compare it with El Centro in terms of calls of service and what you do, and then what you actually do, and then compare it and contrast. He goes, wow, 3,000 and 7,000, and look at what we get paid compared to this. That you can also compare. That would help us.
Right. And then, for example, it's only the calls for service that are open, but also all the traffic that goes into, meaning where you have to type in what the storyline that we're handling. Yesterday, we had a pursuit from the city of El Centro. They're coming southbound, and we had to make all the phone calls, Port Venture, Mexicali, and document everything.
Okay.
You're invited, if ever interested, invited to sit along with us. Sometimes it's like when you go to the doctor, nothing's happening when you're there, but I would really appreciate it if you're invited, welcome to come into our center and see live what we do, and we can explain it.
Thank you. I don't have anything. Anybody else have anything?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the next item is adjourned to closed session. A closed session of the City Council Collective Community Development Agency successor agency Calexico Financing Authority may be held in accordance with state law, which may include but is not limited to the following types of items: personal matters, labor negotiations, security matters, providing instructions to real property negotiations and conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. The closed session will be held at the City Hall Conference Room located at 608 Heber Avenue, Calexico, California. Any public comments on closed session items will be taken before the closed session. Any required announcements or discussion of closed session items or actions following the closed session will be made in the City Council chambers at 608 Heber Avenue. And we will close the closed session at 5:46. Please come to order. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority meeting agenda. Today's Thursday, November 17, 2022. It is 6:42 p.m. I will take roll call. Mayor Javier Moreno is here. Mayor Pro Tem Raul Ureña.
Here.
Councilmember Camilo Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Gloria Romo, is she online or she's absent? No, she's absent, okay. And then Councilmember Rosia Arreola Fernandez. Thank you. You have a quorum. Please stand up for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Garcia, can you help us with the mission statement?
City of Calexico mission statement.
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Mexico. Calexico.
Please remain standing. I will say the invocation. Dear God, we ask for your blessings tonight. For us who have been called to lead our community, help us as leaders how to fix things, what we need to learn, how we might need to change, and whom we need to listen to. Remind us that no matter who we are, we treat everyone with respect, our children, our elderly, the poor, the hungry, and the homeless. May we always be guided by the spirit of community, by spirit of justice, and by spirit of love. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. Thank you. Please have it. Our next item is closed session announcement.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. City Councilman in closed session on the item described on this evening's agenda. We did receive direction on these items, but no reportable actions were taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ureña to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor, aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you. We have, next item is presentations. We have a proclamation for Farm Worker Appreciation Week, November 27 to November 2022 through December 3rd, 2022. We will read the proclamation. I'll start. Mr. Ureña, you'll go next. Mr. Garcia, you'll go next. Paragraph.
I don't have.
We don't have it, but it's here, number 4.
Okay. 1 second.
We'll try.
The farm worker?
Yeah.
So we just go by paragraph. I'll do the first paragraph. Mr. Ureña, you'll do the second paragraph. Mr. Garcia, you'll do the next paragraph. Ms. Rossi Fernandez, you'll do the next paragraph. And then I'll do the next paragraph. And then Mr. Ureña does the next paragraph. And then I'll finish it off. Whereas agriculture has traditionally been the backbone of the economy of Imperial Valley, and
Whereas Imperial Valley farm workers have tilled the soil, sowed the seed, and harvested the crops of this rich agricultural area, and
Whereas these workers and the agricultural industry have provided food in abundance for the people in cities, the nation, and world, have this contributed greatly to the economy of Calexico and the Imperial Valley, and
Whereas the Calexico City Council recognizes the contribution Imperial workers and the agriculture industry have made to our community, and
whereas the City of Calexico Council believes in the dignity of tilling the soil and tending the crops, and
Whereas the Calexico City Council recognizes agriculture will continue to play a strong role in our community's economy, and
now therefore be it resolved that I, Javier Moreno, Mayor of the City of Calexico, on behalf of the Calexico City Council, do hereby proclaim this week of November 27, 2022 through December 3rd, 2022, Farm Workers Appreciation Week, in witness whereof I hereunto affix my signature and the official seal of the City of Calexico of this day, November 22nd. Thank you. Our next presentation was by Mr. Sergio Ojeda, but he asked me to postpone that to our next regular city council meeting, so we're going to honor that. We'll table that. Our next item is the announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov. The Friday following the city council meeting, community office hours with Mayor Moreno will be held by appointment. Please contact city clerk's office at 760-768-2102 to schedule an appointment. Next item is public comments and public appearances, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the city council on special agenda items only. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay city council meetings with personal slanderous remarks. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. And we're going to start with Mr. Ali. And we all have your letter, thank you. You wrote us a letter, we read it, please come.
I was trying to make it easy on you guys because you didn't give me enough time to speak, but since I give you the letter to see what's going on. My name is Ali Siadi. I'm the owner of Elia Fashion. I support 5 family here on my business. We have just as half of those people. Not everybody show up here. Some of them sick, some of them is out of town. Okay, you guys make a wrong decision to shut down the street. First. The second thing, we don't know. You guys, we came here last week. We talking about it. We went home. We went to the visit. We don't know nothing about it. So somebody came, call of us from Mexicali. He said, you know what's going on? I said, no. He said, you're going to shut the street. Nobody, came to us to ask us what the decision you guys made. Somebody going to come to us and say, listen, we're going to shut the street. How you feel? How you like it? We're going to help you solve. That's why we have you here, you guys, to supporting us, not to hitting us. When you shut the street, my business they went down 80%. Yesterday, the first sale I made at 4 o'clock in the evening. I used to make $2,000 a day, $3,000. Now I make $500, $200, $300. Because of what? Nobody can come in to find park. Let me show you something. Our business is different from what our business. I don't think anybody, you guys have, some family have handicap, a wheelchair, he can't get off the car. Let me show you something, but don't scare, See these shoes? Somebody come to my store, they park in front of my store. Some of them have kids, some lady, she has a dad, she can park in front of my store. She say, Ali, I want some shoes for my dad or for my son. He's not able to get out of the car. We give him the shoes. She say, I'm the choosing these shoes. Take it. I give her a pair of shoes to go to the car to try the shoes. If he fit him, she buy it. If not, she coming back and take another one. Can you tell me if anybody go to the mall? Go to the mall. Can somebody give him shoes and to go to try one and come back? Anybody give us that service? Nobody. Just us do that service because I do care for the people handicapped wheelchair. Maybe none of you guys have laws, but one day we gotta get old. We have to treat it better. If she's not gonna come, you're gonna shut the street, where's she gonna find park? If she have kids who are handicapped, where's she gonna put it? On the third street? Really, we have a problem with the parking. You know it. And look, I sent it to you by WhatsApp. You wanna see how much bill I have? $219,000. This is my bill. It's not making up. If I want to show to you, I can show to you. From the bank. I just got loan from Bank of America just to pay the bill. $48,000 from Wells Fargo. $120,000 on my house loan. Just paying $1,800. How am I going to pay the bill if you shut that street? How are we gonna do it? Because they shut the street, you shut them down. So I have 5 families we support him. The other, my neighbor, she have 5 families. Other people have maybe 6 families. So everybody gonna go out of business. Why you making to shut it down? Why? You fix the street, you repair. Thank you. We appreciate that. But don't shut it down. You wanna put light? Go ahead, put light. Do whatever you wanna do, but don't shut it down. If you shut it down, you shut it out us. All our business, we gotta go down. Yesterday, the UPS came in to bring our merchandise. Some guy came in from the city after him. So not to go from, how am I gonna deliver the merchandise for those merchants? He says, not our problem. What do you mean it's not a problem? How are we gonna receive? I have tomorrow's coming trailer, it's like 50 feet. How are we gonna go to my store?
Okay, Mr. Ali, you're out of time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next person is Berta Mena.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Berta Mena, soy residente de la ciudad de Calexico. Mire, yo estoy aquí por 2 cosas, bueno, 3 de hecho, espero que me alcance el tiempo. Bueno, mire, una de las cosas es que yo he tratado de poner un negocio, yo soy una madre soltera, tengo algunos ahorros y como dicen las personas, no sabía que iban a venir ellos. Yo he tratado de conseguir apoyo para independizarme, soy una buena madre y tengo experiencia en hacer muchas comidas y creo que me podía vivir bien en un negocio, pero la verdad es que la ciudad, hablo en general, no con ustedes, cuando vengo a pedir el permiso de la licencia, me mandan a building, mire, yo quiero poner pues un local fijo con una carretita de hot dog, ¿verdad? Entonces siempre me ponen trabas, me piden cosas que digo yo, bueno, son exageradas, o sea, soy una persona limpia, pienso tener las mejores condiciones y adaptarme a lo que ellos me pidan, pero de verdad, es transigente que nos pidan pagar una licencia tan cara y licencia tras licencia tras licencia, y eso impide que uno pueda tener negocio. También en la High School de Calexico hemos estado hablando sobre por qué no se hace el desfile navideño, por qué no se va a hacer este año el desfile navideño, porque eso también atraería más gente para que los negocios se puedan recuperar de esta pandemia, de esta crisis tan grande que ha estado pasando. También qué bueno que esté el señor Ceja escuchando, que le quiero pedir y agradecerle infinitamente su ayuda con mi problema, pero también le quiero pedir, y sin ofenderse, que haga su trabajo y que cada uno de ustedes haga su trabajo. No es un pedido. Les exijo que hagan su trabajo porque para eso están aquí, sin que se ofendan, claro, sin que se ofendan. Les agradezco, se les agradece el tiempo, la dedicación, las buenas palabras, los buenos hábitos de ser amables con la gente, pero en realidad no les estamos pidiendo un favor, les pedimos y les exigimos como ciudadanos de aquí de Calexico que necesitamos más ayuda para los negocios, para hacer actividades, para que la gente pueda venir a comprar a Calexico, pero también sabiendo que hay seguridad y hay prevención para que los crímenes que han estado pasando en la ciudad no se cometan de nuevo y la gente venga sabiendo que está seguro, que puede dejar su carro parqueado ahí y no le van a robar algo, o no lo van a asaltar, o no va a pasar algo que no debería de estar pasando. Yo es lo único que le pido, que nos apoyen, que me apoye a mí y a otras personas que queremos iniciar un negocio y no podemos porque también la gente que renta los locales, nadie mide o nadie hace como algo de sepan cuánto es lo que pueden cobrar y cobran lo que quieren. Y a veces es muy difícil juntar para la renta, juntar para las provisiones y todavía para seguir invirtiendo es algo muy duro. Gracias.
Gracias.
Dear God, we ask for your blessings tonight. For us who have been called to lead our community, help us
Jacqueline Alcalá.
what we need to learn, how we might need to change, who we need to listen to. Remind us that no matter who we are, we treat everyone with respect. Our children, our elderly, the poor, the hungry, and the homeless. May we also
Buenas noches.
Me llamo Jacqueline. Yo estoy aquí apoyando a los negocios de aquí de Calexico. Mi hermana ha trabajado más de 30 años en el mismo negocio. Hemos contribuido a la ciudad de Calexico. Estamos pidiendo su ayuda. Estamos pidiendo que nos apoyen.
Yes,
La
thank you,
ciudad
Mayor.
de
City Councilman, in
Calexico,
closed session on the
no,
items
ahorita
described on this
con el
evening's
problema de
agenda.
homeless,
We did receive direction on
hemos
these
tenido
items, but no
muchos
reportable
problemas
actions
en
were
mi
taken.
calle, en la calle donde trabajamos. Tenemos que cuidar a los niños cuando vienen de las escuelas. Nos ha tocado parar dos o tres gente que ocasionan problemas con los niños. Esa es una. Ahora la seguridad de nosotros como comerciantes, cuando salimos cuando salimos de los negocios, tenemos que cuidarnos unos con los otros, porque las policías no están alrededor o porque somos parte de los negocios alrededor. También quiero pedir que nos apoyen, porque no podemos seguir así. Queremos seguir
Mr. Garcia, you go next.
trabajando con ustedes. Queremos seguir pedir el apoyo de ustedes. Ahora el UPS no va a venir a dejarnos cosas a nosotros. Las personas que dejan el dinero para las casas de cambio no van a poder entrar. Todo es un riesgo para la seguridad de nosotros y de la seguridad de ellos. Ocasionalmente nos van a pedir que cerremos los negocios. Nosotros estuvimos con COVID, seguimos adelante y queremos el apoyo de ustedes.
Then I'll do
Eso
the
es
next
todo.
paragraph. Gracias. And then Surrender does the next paragraph. And then I'll finish it up. Whereas agriculture has traditionally been the backbone of the economy of the Pearl Valley and
Whereas in Pearl Valley, farm workers have tilled the soil,
Rosa Alcala.
sowed the seed, and harvested the crops of this rich agricultural area, and
Whereas these workers and the agricultural industry have provided food in abundance for the people
Buenas
of the
noches.
cities,
Mi nombre es Rosa
the
Isela
nation,
Alcalá.
and the world,
Yo soy
contributed
owner de un
greatly
negocio
to
de
the
ahí de Calexico.
economy of Calexico.
Pues
and
el
the
problema es
Pearl
la calle. El que ustedes cerraron la calle
Tilling
ha
the
bajado
soil and tending
muchísimo
the
el
crops
negocio.
and-
Apenas llevamos 2 días.
whereas the Calexico City Council
clientes ya
recognizes
no van.
agriculture will continue to
Son
play
los
a
que pasan
strong role in the
caminando, pero yo
community's
tengo muchos
economy,
clientes que llegan con
Now
carro.
therefore it be resolved that I have
Estacionan
been
sobre la
mayor,
calle
mayor of the city of
Segunda.
Calexico, on
Tengo
behalf of the
gente
City
que
Council, do hereby
ahí mismo
proclaim
les
this week
pagan
of
el
November
carro.
27,
¿Cómo es posible que cierren la calle? ¿Dónde van a
through
estacionarse?
December 3rd, 2022, Farm Workers
Tengo el problema del
Appreciation
Lumis.
Day, in which this
No va a
law
querer
has
venir,
to take my signature and
estar en la
the
calle
official seal of the
primera,
City of
bajarse,
Calexico.
entregar
on
mi
this day.
dinero en mi negocio y caminar hasta la calle segunda.
Thank you.
Ya me lo dijeron.
Our next
Entonces,
presentation
ustedes,
was by
con mucho respeto,
Mr.
lo único que están ocasionando es problema.
Sergio Ojeda,
Va a haber más
but
homeless,
he
las
asked
personas que no tienen qué hacer, ahí se van a dormir. Ustedes
So
quieren
we're
tener
gonna
la calle
honor that
cerrada, va a haber
table that.
mucha basura, puro
The
cochinero.
next item is the
Gente
announcement.
mirándonos a qué hora
These
cerramos, a
proceedings
qué
may
hora
be viewed
abrimos,
on the
a qué
City of
hora
Calexico
vamos, a qué hora
website at
venimos. Eso no nos conviene, ni a ustedes ni a nosotros.
www.calexico.ca.gov
Lo único
for
que va a
Friday
pasar
following
es
the City
que
Council meeting.
yo no voy a
Me
tener
also,
dinero
Mr.
para
Mayor
pagar
Moreno,
rentas,
will
no
be
voy a
held
tener
by
dinero
appointment.
para
Please
pagar
contact City
empleados.
Clerk's office
Vamos
at
a tener muchos problemas.
760-768-2112
Yo creo
to
que
schedule
vale
an
la pena
appointment.
reconsiderar el que abra la calle.
Next item is public comments and public appearances. Gracias. Not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on special
Mr. Jose Lu.
agenda items only. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay City Council meetings with personal slanderous remarks.
Muy buenas noches.
City Council is prohibited by state law from
Señores
taking action
regidores,
to discuss items not
Mi nombre
included on
es
the
José
particular
Lu.
agenda. Please
Vivo en la
direct
calle
your
Santiago
questions and
Drive,
comments to the City Council.
1088.
And we're going to start with
Tengo 50 y tantos años viviendo aquí en Calexico
Mr.
y
Ali.
creo que en estos momentos lo que está pasando,
We all have your
está,
letter, thank you.
día a día está más difícil Calexico.
We read it? Please continue.
Hace dos años más o menos, donde era el Dollar Tree, los hombres o las personas que se hacen otras cosas, quemaron ese edificio, quemaron donde está el restaurante Fiesta y también la esquina que está allá. Yo veo que si cierra la calle Rojo, va a estar más difícil para todos nosotros, para la ciudad de Calexico. Por la falta de circulación, algunas personas quieren llegar en carro, digamos, a dejar a la gente que va a pasar a Mexicali o esperar que venga, y todos los negocios que allí van a afectar. Creo que ustedes deberían pensarlo bien, lo que va a hacer. De todos modos, usted tiene todo derecho de hacer hacer lo que debe de hacer, pero creo que también debe considerar un poquito a nosotros los comerciantes. Ustedes de vez en cuando deberían ir a dar una vuelta, no como representante, como ciudadanos, para que vean qué es lo que está pasando en Calexico. Hay veces que me pregunto, la gente dice, ¿hay baño aquí en Calexico para el público? No sé ni contestar porque realmente yo no sé si haya baño. Yo creo que lo que necesita también eso la ciudad de Calexico. Eso es todo. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. María de Jesús Gutiérrez.
Buenas noches,
Buenas noches.
a todos y a ustedes principalmente. Yo lo que les pido es que reconsideren por favor lo que están haciendo porque estamos afectados, muchas personas, no nada más los que estamos aquí porque somos pocos, tanto dueños de los locales como los que estamos en los negocios. Estoy un poquito nerviosa, disculpe. Como han dicho mis compañeros de negocios, somos de Casa de Cambio El Güero. Ya no nos van a llevar dinero. Ustedes saben la inseguridad que se está viviendo mejor que nosotros, porque a nosotros muchas veces no nos lo reportan, es por boca. Ha habido apuñalados, están rompiendo los cristales de los autos, están abriendo los autos y roban muchas bolsas de las personas, de las mujeres. Entonces, va a ser un caos, ya empezó. No hay seguridad y los que viven más bien en la calle son las personas indigentes. No tienen dónde estar y están causando ese problema. Aparte, se van a cerrar los negocios. ¿De qué? Tenemos más de 30 años ahí. ¿De qué vamos a vivir? Somos muchas personas, muchas familias que dependemos de ello. Son trabajadoras, que aquí hay algunas, y dueños. Por favor, reconsideren. Ustedes tienen más lugares para hacer lo que quieren hacer. Está bien que piensen en las familias, en los niños, pero tienen otros espacios. Dejen que trabajemos. Somos una familia ustedes y nosotros, porque Calexico somos todos. Apóyennos, por favor. Es lo que les pido. Gracias. Espero que reconsideren.
Gracias. Okay, Mr. Ali. Verónica Hernández. Next person is Berta Mena.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Verónica Hernández y yo vengo en representación de Sol Enterprises. Yo tengo 16 años trabajando para esa tienda y estoy aquí para pedirles que reconsideren la decisión de cerrar la calle Segunda porque nosotros hoy ya empezamos a tener problemas. Mañana recibimos un tráiler de mercancía y el tráiler ya me dijo que si no hay salida por la calle Raco, él ya no nos va a traer la mercancía porque ellos entran por la Heffernan y entran el tráiler, se estaciona en el callejón, deja la mercancía y sale por la calle Raco. Entonces, si no hay manera de que ellos salgan, ya no nos van a poder llevar mercancía porque no hay manera de que ellos entren reverseando porque tendría que ser desde la calle Giver, creo, la de la 99 Cents. Entonces dice, son dos calles de callejón que es imposible con un tráiler de 53 pies llevándolo de reversa. Entonces, si hay manera de que yo salga por la calle Parkwood, entro por la Heffernan, salgo por la Rockwood, sí, les llevo la mercancía, si no yo ya no les voy a poder surtir. Y ese es el problema. Hoy precisamente comenzamos con el problema. Es por eso que mis jefes me pidieron que viniera aquí en representación de la tienda para pedirles que reconsideren la decisión de cerrar la calle Segunda. Esto, gracias.
Gracias. Anyone else we want to make public comments? ¿Alguien más quiere hacer comentarios públicos? ¿No? Gracias. Our next item is City Manager Report. That's all happening. Unless it was 443, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You okay? Okay.
So there will be no manager report other than just mentioning about the Christmas parade. And just so the public knows, it takes $13,000 to prepare a parade. And the city is now, you're gonna see in a few minutes how difficult it is for the city right now to afford to have a parade. Unless we have donations, I don't see the possibility for us to have a Christmas parade. Just to make sure that everybody knows. Thanks.
Thank you. And we have, next item is Commissioners Report. We don't, any commissioners today? No? And next item is City Council comments, and reports of meetings attended.
I'll reserve. I don't really have anything unless.
Okay. Mr. Garcia?
Yeah, just briefly, so we can continue with the agenda. I had a chance to attend that Veterans, remembrance over at the, with the Baja Runners and everybody out there showed up. I think it's a time that, we show our respects and, to our community, especially our veterans. And that, they put on a very good, event. So that, and then, I had a chance to meet with, a few citizens also with concerns that were addressed or even, sent to the appropriate individuals that needed to address those issues. So that's everything that I have.
Thank you. Senator Fernandez?
I want to thank the Blue Knights. Part of the Baja Runners, the ones that had the veterans celebration in the cemetery. And well, I guess I want to congratulate all the people that for all local government positions. I think it's really a congratulate the ones that us, because it takes a lot to step up to the plate and run for office. This is probably going to be my last meeting. December. So I just want to thank the staff. I want to thank the previous manager and our current manager. It's been a tough job. And some of my colleagues were good to me, other ones were not. And, all I could say is that we move on. Another thing that I would say, what Mr. Moreno said in his prayer, that we all need to respect each other. And that was something that I did not receive by certain people that came up to the diocese. I have grandkids their age, and my grandkids never disrespect their elders the way I was disrespected. Every meeting, it seemed like. But anyways, that's besides the point. I want to thank everybody in the city that gave me their support.
Thank you. I'd like to piggyback a little what Mr. Raul Fernandez said about the elections. It's not easy when you run. So congratulations to the ones that did make it up there. So it's a challenge. Also like to thank the Baja Runners and the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Club for donating the 32 beds, like Mr. Raul Fernandez had said. Those 32 beds go to the animal shelter we have here in Calexico. This is spare. These are volunteers, and those are going to go great for those dogs out there, especially when it's getting cold now. It's a bed, and they raise from the ground, so the dogs don't have to sleep in the cold cement slab. So it's pretty comfortable for them. That's all they need really. And we do have heaters out there for the dogs in the winter, and in the summer they also have coolers. So you can rest assured they're taken care of. There needs to work to be done there at the shelter, and we're working towards that. Having said that, if you say you have anything? No? Okay.
Let me just, now, based on the the announcement from Ms. Arvela Fernandez, and being that probably she's not going to be here for the, next two meetings, I want to thank you personally for your service. Again, like you said, being an elected official is not easy, but that's something that we sign up, freely. No one is forcing you, and you're here to try to make things better. Of course, there are going to be things that are not going to be popular, things that are not going to be popular with everybody, right? But that's the reason why we're here. And being here also, you always think about how can you make things better, right? And that's always that, you always have in mind, or at least when you find yourself here. So I want to thank you, Rosie, calling you on a first name basis, because I think we have gotten to get to know each other over the last 2.5 years. Thank you for your service. Best of luck. And you're still going to be in Calexico, so you won't go too far. But thank you, and just going back, also to congratulate all the ones that are joining us and are staying, not just here in Calexico, but throughout the county. And thank you for the courage to run for office. It's not easy. If any of you also is interested in doing that, it is a call. It is something that, we should try to do. The fact that you come in and show your concerns, I think that, it's also part of what you need to do. If you want to change something, that's what you do, right? A lot of us, the reason why we get here is because we want to change something. We want to, make things better. So I appreciate all those comments, that you have made. I appreciate the work that has been done by my peers, and I look forward to the incoming, council members. So thank you. But just in case if I don't get to.
Yes. To the next meeting.
Thank you, and I'd like to wrap it up for the business owners who took their time from the busy schedule to be here. It's not easy. I know we have to make decisions, but rest assured we're going to make the best decisions for the whole Calexico. Gracias por venir esta noche. No es fácil hacer estas decisiones, pero créanme que si los escuchamos, tomamos notas, podemos trabajar con ustedes para una resolución buena para Calexico. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Okay, para que sepan cómo trabaja estas cosas, no podemos comentar mucho en público ahorita porque no está en la agenda. But we can't comment. We're precluded from doing that. We don't want to get into discussion here. It's not. We appreciate your comments. We'll work with the city manager to bring a resolution, as well as the city council members, so a big resolution, what's best for everybody. Eso es lo que les quiero decir, que no nos dejan, no autoriza la ley de hablar, de comentar y tomar acciones en cosas cuando el público viene, pero sí lo vamos a tomar nota, lo vamos a trabajar con la administradora y para hacer una resolución, también con los regidores aquí, para poder tener una resolución beneficiar para todos. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias. Gracias.
Veronica. Our next item is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ureña to approve. Second by Mr. Arrola Fernandez. All those in favor?
Proclamation, the farm worker proclamation.
Are you here to receive it?
100%.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let's just finish the motion, right? Okay, so motion by Mr. Reyes to approve, second by Mr. Arrola Fernandez. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. And so you are here representing the farm workers proclamation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And your name? Okay, Diana, mucho gusto.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hola, buenas noches. Muchas gracias por permitirme estar aquí esta noche. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. I just wanted to invite you all to the Farm Worker Breakfast. It's a really nice event. We've had it for 43 years, and it just keeps on growing. I know, of course, with the pandemic, the last 2 years we didn't have that many people, but we're hoping to get back on track, and we're still having the same dinner that we have and the same celebration, music, and we are allowing us to have tables. So I do invite you all to attend. It's, like I said, it's a really nice celebration. Los estoy invitando a que participen, que asistan al desayuno de los trabajadores del campo. Es en la madrugada para amanecer el 2 de diciembre. So, muchas gracias. Thank you.
So Diana, so you guys are going back to the original format, where people can actually sit down and eat,
Yes.
because for the last 2 years, that was not able to happen, so,
they're-
that's great.
yeah, they're
And the bailongo and all of that?
Yes.
Okay, great,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
thank you so much.
Lily, were there any public comments on the consent agenda? Were there any public comments on the consent agenda?
No, no public comments.
Okay.
No, there will be no manager's report other than just mentioning about the Christmas parade. And just so the public knows, it takes $13,000
Okay, so,
to prepare the parade.
all right, thank you.
And
So
the
moving on to
city is-
items pulled, next item is items pulled from consent agenda, calendar for discussion. There were none.
Right now to afford
Then we're going up to discussion and potential action items. Item number 14. Now, I do have
possibility for us
plenty
to
of
have a Christmas parade,
comments
just to make sure
on that item. Do you want to run by it real quick, and then we'll take the public comments?
Next item is Commissioner's report.
Well, you need to,
Anyone from Commissioners? No?
if I'm not mistaken, we have to present the item and then the comments
And the comments?
come after.
Report of meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Fonseca, do you want to go for just a quick presentation about the budget?
Just briefly, so we can look into the agenda. I had a chance to attend the veterans, remembrance over at with the Baja runners and everybody out there showed up. I think it's a time that, we show our respects and, to our
Good
families,
evening,
to the
Mayor and
veterans.
Good
council
evening.
members
And,
and
they
audience.
put on a very good,
As we presented in the previous
so
meeting,
that's and that, and then,
we have presented our first quarter report in which we had demonstrated that if we adopted and amended our budget, we would be on a 60-day reserve, and that our revenues were in a good, we were going really good. And we did have to make some amendments, which we also presented at the last meeting. There is 2 items that we had to address and change since that time. One is because of the fire station went, and Ms. Colio will be presenting the
Well, I
reasons
guess
of that.
I want to
And we had
congratulate
presented
all
that portion of the successor agency was going to be for fire station 1 and also for fire station 2 on the previous meeting and for the library. But due to the fire station, to complete the fire station, on this presentation, we only have to use the successor agencies just for the fire
This
station
is
1.
probably going to be my last meeting.
And the 500,000 that we had requested for the fire station 2 and the library restrooms, we are requesting that we use the ARPA funds to cover those items. Other than that, everything else stayed the same. And I don't know if you have any questions,
Some of my
and I
colleagues
know that the Chief Avila will be presenting a little bit more about the fire station 1, so I'll let him address that.
Another thing that I would say.
So aside from the presentation, is this available online for the citizens to view?
We all need to respect.
Or will it
Yeah,
become
it's gonna
available?
be up right now.
Did not receive by certain people that came up.
No, I'm sorry, aside from these we're going to show tonight, is it available on our website?
Yes, we're gonna post it on-
Okay, got it, that's all. Thank you.
Can you turn on the projector?
But anyways, that's besides the point.
This is almost going to be the same presentation that we made last time. There is one slight change, which I want to point it out. Second slide, please. Go to the second slide. So I highlighted the areas in which we have some changes, and these changes are due to the extension of the project from 365 days to 2 years and a half, almost like 800 days instead of 365 days to complete the project. Those delays cost money,
And so the request that we have in this item is to increase that amount. We were successful in securing funding from the former redevelopment agency proceeds. We have all the documentation in place, approvals from the state of California, the finance department. And so in addition to that, you can see the total cost of the fire station is $8.391 million. It was estimated at the beginning from when the project began, you only had $6,222,000. At that time, the city council was told that there was an additional $1.2 million from the CDBG program, which it was never available. And so what the city council approved later on in 2022, May, was $200,000 to pay one of the change orders. But still, the project was upside down, to the point now that our request includes the additional funding to be able to pay for all the costs associated with the facility and to close the project, to be able to operate the facility. Next slide, please. We also have in our request and this report, all these buildings, which were also some of them addressed in the audit finding, that the city has lacked maintenance on those facilities, and by default, we have many issues. Some of the issues are the library. We don't have restrooms right now. The restrooms are closed. We had to do mold mitigation, and we had to close it for a while. Mold has been abated, and it's been removed. And now we just received this week the bid for rebuild the restrooms and make it ADA compliance. If today you approve our request, we will be able to address those issues as well as the fire station number 2, which is on the west side. Now, keep in mind that today, with the lines that are too long, our fire department has been creative, and what they're doing on a daily basis is sending an engine on the other side of the line to the west side, ready for any emergency that may occur during the long lines that we have, because we don't want to run into the situation in which the line is so close to each other and we cannot cross the line for an emergency purposes or create an accident. So it is imperative that the city council approve these repairs. We have also roof damages in almost every single building because the city has not done any repairs to the buildings in many years. We also including air conditioners. We have a full an inventory of about 23 units that needs to be replaced. We're not including those 23 units, we're just including a few of them. The ones that are the most important ones are the senior hall. The air conditioner broke. Right now, they don't have heater or air conditioner. We also have a finding from the environmental health department not having hot water in the restrooms or warm water. And so we addressing as well. That United Families is a building that we renting right now, leasing. It's also have damages to the roof. And there are so many items that are needed for this city that we find ourselves in a difficult position to sustain those repairs, and the only way that we can do it is really to use ARPA funding. Next slide, please.
Okay,
So you're gonna see a series of pictures, photos that we presented before, and that just gives you an idea of the conditions of the roofs in different locations. Next slide, please. That's the restrooms. There was some mold. We fixed those issues. We also requesting carpet replacement. You can see the conditions of the carpet. That's really a concern. As a city manager, I'm concerned for my staff, of anyone who comes into the building, they can trip into those carpets that are in really bad condition. Next slide, please. There's different photos from the police department and the roof. So every time, in the last rain, the last two rains really hit our facilities. We up to the point that we need to fix those facilities as well. Next slide, please. In addition to the request for building those facilities, we have a pending response to the audit, the state audit. Part of that response requires that we update the development fee schedule, to update the housing element and operations and process update. When I'm talking about operations and processes, we're talking about a fast tracking process for planning and for new businesses coming into town. Developing the cannabis element that we haven't been able to put together a process so that we can expedite those permits on the planning side, on the building side, on the we don't have development right now, so it is imperative that we develop a strategy so how to address those things. If we don't do this today, we're not looking in the future to have any additional revenue. We just saving the money, doing no activity, not investing in staff, not investing in processes, holds the city from progressing and for creating revenue. And so those are the concerns that we have, and the audit mentioned, and the audit as well. The auditors from the state mentioned in the audit. Next slide, please. So our request today is to move $2.4 million from the bond, the successor agency, and use $2 million from the ARPA funds. Just to have an idea, you saw all the list, but this is just 5 of the items from the list, the previous list. And next slide, please. Now, you have in your presentation, and you can see it better in your presentation, it's kind of blurry at this point. You have the option now to let us know from which items, line items, we can have those funds, the $2 million from the ARPA money. The way that we presented in our resolution, which can be changed upon your approval or your recommendation, is to use it from the downtown. That was the original recommendation. But I'm just here to hear your comments. Let us know which line items we can use for the $2.64 million that we're requesting. Next slide, please. And something to keep in mind, if you approve today's request, we're going to be able to address 6 of the items on the reports from the audit. So we're going to start immediately working on those and present it to them as a plan that has to be implemented as soon as possible and being able to respond by next year, all the accomplishments that we have done with those findings. Next slide, which is the last one. And this is from the state auditors that really is, it's not really happy to see this, but we're number 2 in the list of high risk. And that's what I'm presenting today, this, the staff and us were presenting this proposal to you. So let us know which accounts you would like us to use. Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and go to public comments.
Presentation, is this available online for the citizens to view?
First one is
Or will it become available?
Jeanette Chu.
No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No apagamos la luz.
This is almost going to be the same presentation that we made last time. There is one slight change I want to point out. The second slide, please.
Gracias.
So I highlighted the areas in which we have some changes, and these changes are due to the extension of the project.
Good
from
evening.
365
My name is
days
Jeanette
to
Chu. I am a Calexico resident.
2 years and a half,
And
almost
good
like.
evening, city council members, city officials, and community. I'm an educator and a member of the Friends of the Library. As you know from Mrs. Legaspi's monthly reports and with the November library calendar that I gave you right now, the library is frequented by a high number of patrons. Since it is surrounded by 3 neighboring schools, you can imagine the volume of students and parents that visit the library throughout the day, especially after school. As of today, it is about 3 months that the library is without restrooms for adults and young patrons. There are restrooms available for small school-age children. It is mind-boggling why one needs to request funding for something that is obviously essential to have to appropriately operate business. I would think that the city would want to avoid any liability issues. The children's area of the library, as I stated, has restrooms, but it is for children, but in the event of an emergency, who is to say that an adult or a young adult wouldn't use the restroom? So we're running a risk there, I believe, of any issues involving children. I don't think I need to go into details for you to imagine what I'm referring to. Additionally, the library multipurpose room is also used for other events, such as our recent election. So I asked myself, how could we not have a working public restroom for a highly used public facility? Thus, I am here today to ask that city officials and council members take proactive measures and assess the maintenance of city buildings, as you've already stated, Mrs. Colio, before they become a larger problem to repair. In addition, I implore you to authorize the necessary funding from ARPA for the much-needed repairs of the Camarena Memorial Library restroom and also for the repair of the roof. Thank you for your time.
If you approve our request, we will be able to address those issues as well as the fire station number 2, which is on the west side. Now, keep in mind that today, with the lines that are too
Next
long,
speaker is Judith
our fire
Mason.
department has been creative, and what they're doing on a daily basis is sending an engine on the other side of the line, to the west side,
Council members.
Good evening.
ready for any emergency.
My name is
that may
Judith
occur
Mason.
during the
I am
long
a
lines that we
resident of
have because we
Calexico.
don't wanna run into
And
the
I, like
situation
Ms.
which-
Chu,
in
am here
which
to
the line
urge you to
is
please
so
approve
close to each
funding
other
for the
and
repairs
we
of the
cannot
library
cross
restroom.
the line for an
My
emergency
son and I
purpose.
frequent
Hopefully,
the library.
an accident, so
They have
it is
numerous
imperative
programs we
that the city
attend. I
council
attend as an
approve
adult. I
this
am part of the
repairs.
reading club.
We have
He
also
attends family literacy
roof
nights.
damages in
We go there on a
almost every
regular
single
basis to
building
check out
because
books.
the city
And
has not done any
like Ms. Chu
repairs to
said,
the buildings in
it's been a
many
couple
years.
months now that we don't have
We also
restrooms.
including,
I
air
also
conditioners. We
refer
have a
my
full
students, I'm an educator, I'm employed with Calexico
23
Unified
units
School
that need to be
District, and I
replaced.
also refer
We're not
students there for
including
tutoring
those
after
23
school.
units, we just including a
They have
few of them.
many
The ones that
services
are the most
available for
important
even
ones
adult literacy.
are the,
Ms. Legaspi is a
senior
great
home,
librarian.
air
I
conditioning broke.
meet people
Right
on
now,
a regular
they
basis
don't
that
have
even come from out
heater
of
or air
town to
conditioner.
attend, from neighboring
Um,
cities to
We
participate
also
in
have
what the
a
library
finding
has to
from
offer,
the
especially during the
environmental health
summer.
department not having
And I
hot water
just do
in the
not
restrooms, so
see
warm
how
water.
we don't have
And so we
adequate
addressing as well
facilities for
that
all the people who
United
attend
Families is a
the
building that
library
we
functions.
renting right
I
now leasing.
urge you to
It's
please
also have
approve the
damages
funding
to the roof.
to have the restrooms repaired.
And
It is
there's
a
so many
very
items that are
important,
needed for
it's
this,
a
for
very
this,
important service
city
that the city
that
is
it's-
offering for our
we find
students.
ourselves
We
in a
have a
difficult
very
position
low
to sustain
socioeconomic
those
level,
repairs, and the only way
and
that we can do
all
it
our parents
is really
cannot
to use
afford
ARPA
to
funding.
order
It's
books
like
from Amazon, go to Barnes and
So you're
Noble,
gonna
and they
see
frequent the
students'
library. We're
pictures,
providing a
photos that
great
we presented
service
before, and that
for
just
the
gives you
community,
an
but
idea of the
especially for our
conditions of the
students.
roof.
I please
In different
urge you
locations,
to
next slide please.
approve funding for the
That's the
restroom repairs.
restrooms, there was some mold, we fixed those
Thank you.
issues. We also requesting carpet replacement, you can see the conditions of the carpet, that's really a concern. As a city manager, I'm concerned for my staff, of anyone who comes into the building, they can trip into those.
We now have,
really
do we have any
bad
online
conditions.
comments on
Next
this one?
slide, please.
No? No, we now have
There's an.
4. You might want to read.
photos
These
from
were
the
brought in
police
by,
department, the
submitted
roof.
via
So
email.
every time, in the last rain,
Our
the last
first
two rains,
comment comes from
really
Angelica
hit us.
Angulo.
We are to the
Dear Ms.
point that we
Garcia,
need
I hope
fix
this
those
email
facilities
finds you
as
well. I am emailing you
Next
to
slide, please.
request that the City Council supports and
In addition
reconsiders
the
to
request
approve the
for
funding
building
for
the
Camarena
facilities, we
Memorial
have a
Library.
pending,
with the objective to repair the restrooms. Optimal functioning of the restrooms is essential for the community that attends every day to use the library services, specifically to offer them a space that covers their needs in an integral way. Thank you in advance for your support. Sincerely, Angelica Angulo, Library Library Board of Trustees.
For planning and build for new businesses coming into town.
Our next comment comes from Laura Camacho, to whom it may concern. I'm writing this email as a way to attempt to find a solution for our local library. Unfortunate situation. My 2-year-old nephew has speech problems and difficulties interacting socially. Since we found out that our local library, Enrique Camarena, provides a service that stimulates and supports children's cognitive, language, and emotional development, I have made the effort to take him to these support groups. These are great resources that are being offered to our community, but unfortunately, the library is lacking basic human needs. The restrooms at our local library in Calexico, California are out of order. This has been a terrible inconvenience to our situation. I know I speak from others when I say that it is necessary for our local community library, Enrique Camarena, to have a functional restroom for the people that visit the library, to study, to learn, to research, to read, or to the benefit from the different resources that are being offered. As a member of this community, I am asking that City Council members to consider funding a solution to this situation. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Laura
The way that we
Camacho.
presented in our resolution, which can be changed upon
Mayor
your approval
Moreno
or
and
your
council
recommendation.
members. My
Let's
name
use
is
it
Maria
from the
Alarcon.
downtown. That was the
I am a
original
Camarena Library
recommendation.
Board member, and I'm
But
writing
I'm
to
just
ask
here
for your
to
support in
hear
approving
your
the
comments.
allocation
Let
of
us know
funds
how-
for the
which,
repair of the
line items
public
we can use
bathrooms and the
for the
roof
two
at the
funds
Camarena Library. I
for
know that you are aware that those are public restrooms and can be used not only
Something to
by the
keep in
patrons that use the library, but also that people that come in from the outside just to use them.
We're gonna
Those
be
are
able
much
to
needed
address
restrooms.
6 of the items on
The same
report
goes for the
coming up.
roof. They
So we're
service
gonna
many
start
children,
immediately working on
students,
those
and
present it to
adults.
them
So
as
please,
a
let's
plan.
get the roof and
A plan
restrooms
that has to
fixed.
be
I ask for your
implemented as soon as
support.
possible
Thank you.
and being able
Maria
to be funded
Alarcon.
By next year, all the accomplishments we have done with those funds.
Hello
Next
all.
slide.
I'm writing
last
this
one.
letter to
This
request
is from the
approval of
state
allocation of
auditors that
funds to
really
repair the Camarena Library
It's not really happy to
bathrooms
see
and
this, but
roof.
we're number
Camarena
two
Memorial
on the
Library
list of
is the
items.
cornerstone of our
And that's what I'm
community that
presenting
hosts
today,
numerous
this,
public
the
events
staff and
attended by
representing
residents,
this
visitors of
proposal to
Calexico.
you. So let us
As a
know
reminder, the
which
library has
accounts you would
hosted
like
book
us
authors,
to use.
veteran service events, literacy events, even the Calexico Police Department has conducted outreach at the library. A cursory review of the library ceiling reveals obvious water damage, and it's common knowledge that water damage will lead to dangerous structural integrity issues and the development of black mold. It is also common knowledge that the black mold is inherited dangerous to staff and to the library visitors that can cause serious illness or death. My next area of concern is the lack of public restrooms for the public. As previously mentioned, our library holds numerous public events that attract a large number of out visitors, residents, and their children. I am aware that the library has provided temporary restrooms for some events, but they are expensive and not really accessible to the people with disability or handicap. Moreover, are we not in violation of the California law, specifically the California Health and Safety Code Section 11850 and 11805A? The Camarena Library is a cornerstone element of our community and deserves to be maintained with respect so that thousands of families, residents, and visitors that use the facility each year can do so in a clean and safe environment. Please approve allocating funds to repair the Camarena Library as soon as possible. Guadalupe Espino.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, open up for comments.
I do have a proposal for my colleagues to consider.
Okay.
As far as, it's just three brief points. On the ARPA, I think we should allocate from IT public facilities that has $1 million, the broadband allocation that has $450,000, and then the rest from downtown, including the deficit in the emergency responders, to also be taken from the downtown. I think we should also consider, while we're voting on this item, to raise the recruiting salary for the finance manager. In this budget, it's only the police chief's recruitment salary that we're raising. We should also raise the finance director's recruitment salary to the same level, or we can talk about how much we want to raise it to. Now would be the time. And all funds that were taken from Measure H from recreation, that are now being taken now from another fund, should be returned to the recreation department.
I think that one, the last one, is included in the list.
It's included? Okay.
Yes, it is included in the list.
Excellent. And the last thing, I know we're going to be doing a lot of repairs and constructions. When we get to the bidding cycle, is there a way we can get project labor agreements so that local unions and local hires are able to take priority on those?
Yes, we're gonna have to do a bidding process, and then we'll work with legal to get that information.
Okay.
Do you have a specific amounts that you wanna pull from each one of those accounts, or how would you like us to do that? Now, keep in mind that one of the requests that you have is not part of the proposal, which is the increase of the salary for a finance director.
Yes. That one, I would like you to deduct those $15,000 or $20,000 from the proposed general fund reserve.
Yeah.
Nomás deducirle unos 15 o
To
20.
make it cleaner, would you like us better to come back in the upcoming meeting with that specific request, because we need to run the numbers? So if you approve today, is to approve the items that we have on the list, and we can come back later on with a specific amount once that we do all the numbers and everything, and then we let you know from which account.
With this quarter's numbers still, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll retract that one.
Okay, good. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And I do support that item also, but I want to go a little bit more, I guess, in depth, because in going through all of this and going through all these challenges that we're seeing is because the lack of staffing.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to go back and revisit, and I know that was presented on the budget, and I know there were the wants and the needs, and I think, there were no wants, there were needs, even though they were labeled as wants. But we understand that, we're finding ourselves in situations that we shouldn't be in, and that's because lack of staffing. So I want to go back and revisit all the key positions, from finance director to maybe even a city engineer, economic development, all these key things that we're talking about, because we want to have sustainability, revenue generating activities, and sustainability, because we're talking about making all these repairs, which I agree 100% that we have to do, right? There's no other way. But we're going to fix them now, but we also have to think about how we're going to maintain this also after we fix them. So the only way that we're going to do that is generating revenue, right? There has to be that component. There has to be that, vision, which I think we have been lacking. But, we can no longer continue just to be reactive. We have to be proactive, and we have to really, really plan and go back. We're beyond the soul searching here now. I think we have to go back and I know you have a lot of things, and you mentioned that if we approve this now, you will be able to go back and concentrate in the other, item that you have, big item. But I think aside from that also, I think this is huge also, because we need to make sure that we have sustainability, that we have resources, that we have support to you and to everyone here, staff and the community, because we're not thinking about that. We're not talking about those things. But unless we talk about it, we put into action, we're going to keep on going back to this same situation long after we're gone. All of us that are here are gone from this position. So I don't want to continue to do that. But again, with that, I just wanted to make sure that I'll give you that, for future item, along with, the comments that my colleague made. But that shouldn't be in the long-term future. It should be in the very near future. So I want to see that. So we can consider also the monies and investing in human capital, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to get out of this mess. So with that, let me go back to allocating, and I think, for me, I know that from ARPA, I know that's a really touchy subject, but I mean, we're seeing that downtown, has the highest allocation still, and we haven't done any work, and that's not to say that, I mean, we couldn't, but I mean, putting numbers in, I think that's what you want to hear from us, right?
Yes, so you have a chart of balances for each one of those line items?
And
You
if we
wanna-
can, do
we-
you have this on a PowerPoint so
Yes.
we can go back and maybe the
Yes.
public can see it
Can you turn
also?
on the PowerPoint
As we
presentation?
go, I mean, I'm sorry, but we want to be transparent. We're going to be transparent. So for you here and for you out, out there and so following this via social media so you can see it.
Hello all. I'm writing this letter to request approval of the allocation of funds to repair the Camarena Library bathrooms. And Camarena Memorial Library is the cornerstone of our
Oh, okay, so it's really small, right?
public events intended
Yeah.
for visitors of Calexico. As a reminder, the library has hosted book authors, veteran service events, literacy events. Even the Calexico Police Department has conducted outreach at the library.
It's kind of blurry over there, but I'm going to give you more or less the accounts, the line items that has more funding.
Yeah, if you have a clear copy,
Yes.
because mine is also very
Also,
blurry.
you got it.
So
Okay.
what's on the,
So in downtown rehabilitation, we have a balance of 2.975. $2,975,000. Under essential farm workers, we have $1 million. I'm gonna go for the ones that has the more funding. And you have public facilities, IT upgrades, $1 million. And you have city broadband infrastructure, $450,000. Those are the accounts that has the most balances. Now, keep in mind the emergency response is upside down for $219,000. So we're gonna have to move around funds, and we can come back later on. If you only touch any of those four accounts that I provided you, that I recommend you to use, because those are the accounts that has, the line items that has more funding. Once that we do that, then we'll come back and we'll provide you with an update where we are and where can we offset the over expenditure that we have at the emergency response with the other accounts. But for now, that's our request, only to let us know which accounts do you want to use.
and just to go back, just to recap, what's the total that we need to pull from ARPA? That you're requesting?
2.64?
Two-
Let me see, hold on.
Not even 2.1, 2 million y 64 mil.
Yeah.
So we have, hold on one second.
That has $1 million. The broadband allocation.
254?
$450,000.
Okay.
And then the rest from downtown, including minus 10,000. To also be taken from the downtown.
So which accounts?
I think
I
we should
would
also
say
consider while we're voting on
public
this item,
facilities first, because it's literally public facilities, and most of these are public facilities. Broadband.
in this budget,
The total
only
amount?
the police
Todo.
chief's
Okay.
Vaciar.
that we're raising, we should also
Y
raise
lo demás de downtown.
directors, recruitment.
So public facilities, we have $1 million, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that, of course, it's public facilities, I
Yes.
agree with that.
All funds
So that's $1 million, so we still have
were taken
154
from Measure
to
H from
find,
recreation.
Yes.
reallocate.
450,000 del
Taken
broadband.
now from another fund should be returned.
That we could theoretically, in some future, if we want to implement it, we could take it from the downtown fund.
one is included in the list.
Y luego lo demás de downtown.
So we go number one from public facilities, number two from city broadband, and whatever is left needed to complete the $2.54 million is from downtown.
Y también los negativos de 219,000. The deficit,
You want to,
just address it with the downtown
okay.
already.
So we're going to bring that update, okay.
See, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, anything that we have to cover, so it should be from downtown after that.
Yes.
Because, I mean, public facilities is just, again, just the natural fit, that, because we're
Make it cleaner,
working on the public
would you like
facilities.
us better to come back and
Broadband,
with that
again, we can always go
specific
back and
request?
maybe
Because we
revisit
need to
some of
run the
that
numbers.
with any other
So-
funding that we might be able to get.
So if you approve today,
You know,
just to approve the items that we have on the list, and we can come back later on with the specific, once we do all the numbers and everything. No. Let you know when we can. Yes.
That's fine, so I'll retract that.
Okay. I haven't worked on the farm workers communities plan, but I can tell you that I have developed in the past plans and programs in which we have assisted families that were impacted by COVID. And the way that we did it, we put a criteria of what are the things that they need to meet in order to get vouchers. I have done it with vouchers before at the county level, in which we identify if you were an employee, for example, and we're impacted by COVID-19, and you are resident on Imperial County, these are the criteria. And so they will submit an application, and we'll give him, we'll pay the electricity for them, or we will pay a voucher. They can go to Walmart or another place. I have never give checks, only to businesses that were impacted by COVID-19, and that was with coronavirus funding. Now, I want you to keep in mind also that we have some funds available for coronavirus, about $780,000 that we have not used, and the way that those funds were originally intended to be used was for businesses, but because we haven't completed the audit from the Housing Community Development, we're developing a plan to be able to use those funds. So it's something that I would like to work on those two programs to see what will be the criteria to use the funds and how are we going to use it. Now, once that we develop criteria and guidelines, we can bring those, because those needs to be adopted by the city council. So we have a protocol on how to distribute those funds. There has to be some sort of documentation to back up each one of those vouchers or checks, however you're going to use it. That'll be up to the city council members to decide. We're going to come back with proposals on how to use it.
So that will be another discussion, but going back then, any input, because I wouldn't mind, and listening how this is gonna be reinvested in the community, and I use the word reinvested, where the impact will be in the community. So I think any line item fits on that, description of the use. So we can even, use that also, but what I want is to make sure that we're able to put this money to work right away, because it has been sitting for a while now. So the sooner the better, whether it's for that purpose, but like you said, the last thing that I want is to go into any administrative cost also, because with that, and I don't know if it is allowable too, but it's not to deviate this from this, item. I think for me, any of the items should be allowable. Now, just to move forward with this, let's just go ahead and, my suggestion is take it from downtown and everything else that we had already mentioned. So I don't know if my colleagues agree with that.
Would you like to make it into a motion?
Well,
That's what you want to hear from us, right?
Okay.
I think that both theories, I
No,
apologize.
the only thing I gotta say, and I'm gonna say it loud to be with Jimmy, we should not take zero from downtown money, because we're gonna need every penny to put it back in downtown, because it's getting old, it's getting trashed. So why are we taking money from downtown? We need that money. Can we get it from somewhere else and not take it from downtown?
I have an answer to that. So we do have a positive measure D, which is road, ¿cómo se dice, tax. Whatever we take from downtown, we can put it back in acceptable active transportation projects for the downtown. So pretty much like the sidewalks and the streets, like if we take 800,000, we can reallocate 800 from the roads back into
Back to downtown?
Back to downtown.
from the transportation.
So,
Measure
And this is kind of like, I don't understand quite well, and I'm sorry I came late to the party when you guys allocated the funding to that portion of the
Right,
downtown. But keep in mind the following. When you talk about downtown, you need to talk about roads, streets, sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and lighting. You cannot do anything to those buildings. So in a sense, you can fix the streets, you can fix the lighting, street lighting, you can fix the sidewalks, but you cannot touch any of those buildings. So what Mr. Ureña is trying to refer, I think, if I understand correctly, is there are funding at the, from the Transportation Commission or funding from tax Measure D that we can use for those improvements. So I think, I don't know what was the original idea for downtown. I wish I can understand better what was the concept, because in my mind, you cannot use money for buildings.
No, you cannot, and that's a.
No, but I'm thinking about this, like, any money that we take from downtown, okay, we should just, because we're gonna need every penny to put it back, whether we borrow or put it back, but if we take it, what, is we just gotta be careful on that, right? And then he just said, we're gonna do it this way, that's fine, because we're gonna need every penny. If anybody got downtown town, that's the main issue we have. It's a ghost town, it's all bad, ugly, and we have done nothing to downtown, so as long as we have that in place.
And I agree. I mean, for me, even if downtown is the biggest allocation, it's the most important allocation, because that's revenue generating, right? That's literally textbook, the future of what we can need. But I can guarantee whatever we take from it, we will be able to supplement it with Measure D, so we can have equal investment.
That was my concern.
Yes, sir. Just to recap, number one will be, the number one is $1 million from public facilities. Number two, $450,000 for city brown bag. Whatever different is pending is coming from downtown. And we also offsetting the negative balance that we have on the emergency response to downtown.
Correct.
That's the recommendation, right?
Correct.
Okay. Number two from city broadband, and whatever is left
Okay, so anybody make a motion?
I make a motion to
$54 million is for downtown.
accept those recommendations, so suggested recommendations as stated by council from those items listed. So do you need exact numbers, or you? Okay.
Then you-
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion is made, second, Mr. Ureña, all in favor?
Well, that's fine.
Oh, okay. I believe Rosie second the motion.
Okay, so I'll make a correction on that? Motion by Mr., no, yes? Well, that's what I'm trying to correct myself, so do you want it or not? Do you say yes or no? Okay, so motion made by Mr. Garcia and second by Ms. Arla Fernandez, all's in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Item 15, authorize city manager to sign the final prime contract change order number 6 for the new fire station headquarters. Fire chief, Avila.
City chief.
You had a smile on you, huh?
Well, I hope I leave with
Yeah,
a smile, put it
good,
that way.
yeah. We're looking good.
Good evening, everybody here in the building, watching us for via our social media platforms. Diego Favila, I'm here to speak on item number 15, which is the final change order of this, on the fire station project. This fire station project, there's probably nobody else in this city or in this building that wants this completed more than I do. No, I can imagine, right? So this project, when we first started, was a warm filling project, right? It's have seen so many challenges throughout this project. We've seen the change of leadership 3 times for this project. We've gone through a pandemic through this project. We've seen a bunch of things. So today's item is the final change order for the fire station project, which in the sum of 700.
From the housing community development, with the,
$763,889.
So it's something that I would like to work on.
So what
those
this
two
project
programs to see
change
what
order
it
is
they can
covering
continue to use the
is
funds,
the
how
alarm
they
system,
will use it. Now,
addition
once
of
we
3
develop
new
criteria
fire alerting reset
and
buttons,
guidelines, we can bring those because those
a
need
couple
to be
different
approved by the
outlets,
city council. So they,
and
we
two of the
have
biggest
protocol
ones
on
is
how to
the
distribute those
the
funds.
roofing for the
There have to be
fire
some
station
sort of
and the
documentation
PD where they
to
meet.
back up each one of
Okay,
those
we have 2 of
vouchers
those on here.
or checks, however you're gonna use it.
We
That
have a
would be up
small
to the
one for the
city council
landscaping, and
members
that's
to
just
decide.
because of timing
We're
on the
gonna
warranty.
come back with proposals on
There
how
is
to
some
do it.
hardware changes to the door, because when we got the original door, it was very flimsy, very cardboardish. We changed those ones. And the biggest one that has caused the biggest effect is the time that we've taken to finish the project. So I guess our big for tonight is that we ask that we finalize this last changeover. And the reason we want this is we had our last, one of the last inspections done today. With that inspection today, all we're pending now is the approval for occupancy from our building. And if you do that, your men at the fire station can move in to our new fire station.
And then
If
just-
you have questions, go ahead.
Then just real quick, as part of this, if council's consideration, if council's inclined to approve this item, we would also make it contingent upon the execution of a global settlement and release agreement with the contractor to release on any potential claims that may arise from the project, subject to the approval of the city attorney and city manager. And so we would recommend approval of the item, subject to that condition. And I can restate it for the record at the time of the motion as made.
The only thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say it
I'll make a motion to approve with those.
I just have a comment. So before, if you don't mind. So, thank you, Chief. And it still is a warm for me, it hasn't gone away for, this facility that, has turned from 365 to
4 something,
yeah, whatever. So, but it has been quite a ride, and I'm glad that we're coming to a completion phase. But nonetheless, I think this has been a learning opportunity for us, and a very, very, very costly learning opportunity. So what I want from this also is to make sure that we develop, if there's not one already, process that, from this point on, I don't want to go through this again. Or we shouldn't be going through this again because of delays, because of things that happen. And yes, we had the pandemic, and I think all of us are using that as a crutch, for a lot of the things that we're paying, or we are finding a reason to justify, some of the things that have occurred. So this also translates into monies that we're paying. And it is unfair, it is sad, it is disgusting to have to do this, but nonetheless, we have to make sure that we, approve this to move forward. But again, let's develop a process. Let's put, some sort of, firewall, some sort of, procedures that will allow us to make sure that this doesn't happen. And if it happens, I want to make sure that, we hold people accountable, or we hold ourselves accountable, because
On that note, I'm going to emphasize on what you're saying is, earlier in the meeting, you made a comment in regards to getting our staffing levels where they need to be. And this speaks volumes of why your comment is so important. At the time of the project, we had an engineer on board. If you guys remember that, and then the engineer was no longer there. And it goes for us, and just like all my other employees that we have in Calexico. We're making it work, right, with what we got, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the fact that you're asking for those positions, and I appreciate if you guys would pass the final change order for Fire Station 1, and then hopefully we can get the employees who need it, the city who needs it, because right now the city doesn't have a fire station. It has 2 fire stations, and they're both out. With this one, we get one step closer to meeting our goal of the 2. We should be having conversations about Station 3 on the north side, but we're still having these conversations. But we're on track, we're moving forward. Yes, it's very unfortunate. I don't know what we can do about it, other than move forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have no comment.
Motion to approve, subject to the changes stipulated?
Correct. And I could state that even more clearly for the record, which would be the approval of item number 15, the signing of the final contract change order number 6, would be conditioned upon the execution of a settlement agreement and release with Oakview Construction, resolving and releasing any and all claims related arising out of the project or related to the project, subject to the approval of the city manager and city attorney, and this would be a condition precedent to the execution of the final change order on today's agenda. Thank you.
Does my motion suffice to?
It would,
encompass
your
that
motion
language?
would include the language I stated for the record, correct? And if you're in agreement with that.
I'm in agreement, just for the record, that's the motion I want to make.
So I made a motion. Anybody second that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Chief? Where are you? Oh.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good for you.
It's a good moment for everybody here. Everybody's a winner on this one.
Item 16, authorize city manager to sign agreement of professional services with West and Associates Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $64,000 for design engineering services for the installation of 2 valves, project number 2022-300, and adopt budget amendment resolution for fund number 255- American Rescue Plan ARPA, Public Works Manager. Or you.
Good evening.
Oh, there you are.
Good evening, Mayor. This item before you, for the last 2 years, there has been several retention basins along Andrade Avenue and Rancho Frontera that the storm drain water from the IID returns back to our retention basins. The IID has said that they would pay for the valves to install approximately 2 valves so the water won't come back into our retention basins. But our recommendation is that we hire an engineer to assist us with the engineering services and tell us exactly what type of valves we need and where to have them located. We had tried about a year ago to installing one, and it didn't work out. So we went on to our on-call list of engineers, and we gave them a task order. We received 2 proposals, and one company said that they were not responsive. So we come before you to hire Weston Associates engineer to assist us with the engineering services of the design of these valves.
Quick question, so this $64,000 is something that we could have saved if we had our own engineer, correct?
Correct.
Correct. That's already half or a third of their salary, just for the record. A motion to approve?
And just so be aware, you approving ARPA funding, contingency ARPA funding for this, for this.
Yes.
And before we vote on this, I just want to thank also IID. I know Mr. Mike Pacheco was very instrumental in helping us out, as well as, Director Gonzalez, in helping this out. But I think this is really, really badly needed, especially now with those rains that we have had, and we have stagnant water, mosquitoes and all kinds of things that, are growing now, in stagnant water. So I think this is also a priority. I know we have lots of priorities, but I think they should be moved up. So with that, I don't know, you had already made a motion, so
Just
if
real
that,
quick, as part of this,
second.
All right, motion was made by Mr. Ureña, second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approve
Thank
this
you.
item, we
Motion
would also
carried.
make it contingent upon the execution.
And we have one
of the
informational
global
item.
settlement and release agreement with the
Received
contractor to release on.
in the file library board of trustees minute for meeting July 19, 2022.
And city manager. And so we would
just file and
recommend
receive them?
approval of the
Yeah.
item,
Right.
subject to.
Do we
the
go like
motion on
this?
that. Okay.
Take it for
No,
the record.
we good.
All right.
Time of the
Next
motion.
item is future agenda item.
None here.
None?
I think there is plenty already, so, yeah. So, and before we leave, also, I want to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. You know, be safe, enjoy the upcoming holidays, and we'll see you at the next meeting, God willing.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second by Mr. Garcia, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you.